Buonasera. Good evening e bonsoir tout le monde. Grazie per essere venuto. Il titolo della presentazione è A bellezza nasce dal carattere in Italia. So I will briefly introduce myself and then talk about the paintings and also talk about the theme and the idea behind the painting. My name is Theriault. I'm from Canada. I'm a psychologist and a university professor, but I spend a lot of my time painting because it's my second love after psychology. I started to prepare this presentation about a year ago for another show I did in Montreal where my fan club, Canadian fan club, participated. And the theme of the collective show, we were a group of selected artists. The theme was esthète, la beauté, beauty. And I felt I had to take the idea and make it my own because it was more about physical beauty. And I decided to look at it from the angle of a psychologist and see how I could decipher what are the characteristics of a person, their personality, their way of being, that enhance their beauty and make them look more beautiful physically because of who they are and because of how they are. So I did that first show in Montreal last year. La beauté de caractère in French, beauty of the character, and in Italian, which I'm bringing the construct now to Italy, it's a bellezza nasce dal carattere. So I spent 2 weeks here, and during these 2 weeks, I tried to capture the essence of Italian beauty. What makes Italians beautiful individually and collectively as a nation? All of these paintings represent some aspect that I felt really represent Italian nature, their essence, and what makes them beautiful. So that's the history of the construct. So each painting has a little bit of that thought behind it. The first one, it's called Respect. La rispetto, because I find Italians generally to be very restrained and very conscious of boundaries, classic. They have a lot of substance, but they don't need to show that substance loudly. The substance is a quiet strength. So the painting is about quiet strength. The black is the strength. And the rest is neutral colors, but still as a composition, it has presence, although it's not very loud. So this is one of the elements. The second one, this one is about tradition and community. So one of the elements that struck me is how often people gather together, how close they are, how supportive they are, with some of the friendships lasting decades. And the meetings in the garden every week and at the cocktail hour and all kinds of situations where people gather together. So the interpretation is done through color, so classical colors, but also there's often in the painting you'll see circles and that represents gatherings and people coming together. The third one here is called Timeless Beauty, Bellezza senza tempo. And I think this is the most strong one to represent the things from Italy that have struck me. So a lot of the representation in here is color. So you have this brown, it's about this old dark wood. The red, and this is el vino rosso, muy bueno, yum yum yum. Yeah. I like that. This is the leather that you find everywhere in Italy. The flesh skin is because there's a lot of paintings of people and statues, religious and otherwise, whereas the gray represents all of these stones because there is a lot of old stone. So the painting is about also this parchemin is old paper, so it's the color of ancient papers. The painting speaks to timeless beauty, and in Italy I find that there's a lot of emphasis on history and on things that keep being beautiful and not replaced. These are always beautiful things, and they're everywhere around us day in and day out. This last big one here is called Schiroso e Giocoso, so playful and teasing. And this is about the aspect of Italian nature that is playful and funny and laughing at each other and having fake arguments and lots of playfulness and camaraderie in the relationships. So this has struck me whenever we're sitting around a table. I can't really understand much of what is being said because of the language, but I can see the hands are going and people are laughing, and conversations appear to be very funny for countless minutes at a time. So that was my interpretation with the playfulness with lighter colors and more childish approach to the interpretation, and then some disorganization, and the painting, when you look at it, almost makes you smile because it's easy and bright. So those were the four main characteristics, the essence that I was able to subtract from observing for 2 weeks and participating in all these lovely gatherings and meetings. I have some more in the small ones, but I won't go on. It's other characteristics and aspects of the experience of being here that I was able to appreciate. So that's it. In terms of my process, how I paint, I have a pretty specific process, but it's pretty touch and go. So I usually start with making marks, and then I try to think of my topic and how it feels to me, and I find movements and colors to represent what I want to represent. But at the same time, I have an eye for composition and light, and I try to make it visually appealing and balanced. So it is very spontaneous, but at the same time, there's thought and balancing that comes at the end. So that's pretty much what I would like to say about the paintings. I would like to thank Duccio and Nina for a very wonderful 2 weeks. It was pleasant. And also my fellow artists that really gave me a lot of feedback and support and laughs. So I thank you all, and thank you for coming.